Originally, I promised that I would make a video about Orihime Inoue and that I would edit it, but I think just talking about it without a script is a much better way to talk about how much of a disappointment this character is. So if you know, Inoue Orihime is one of the main characters. I can say that without laughing. She's supposed to be a main character, and she does virtually nothing that's important to the plot, other than being a damsel in distress. Also, she has powers that's supposed to be the level of a god, but in this video I will talk about when she should have been meta, where she should matter, and why people hate her. Why there is such a big hate boner in the community against her, rivaling that of Sakura Haruno from Naruto. But I would say that Sakura is a much better written character than Inoue, or rather more useful or more impactful to the plot. Because the main problem with Inoue is that she is built up as an important character instead, yet she is virtually not even as relevant as some of the side characters, such as pretty much all the captains. Right. And this is not because she's a woman, because Rukia is much better written than her, and even she is falling off after 2 arcs and gets some screen time. But why don't we look at some of the things um, that made Inoue such a disappointment? I think that starts even earlier. I didn't prepare the page. So maybe I just should tell you the abridged version. Until we got here, Inoue aided Chad to fight against Ulquiorra and Yami, these two here. And what happened is during the battle, Inoue made up her mind, since her power is based on how resolute she are, to defeat Yami and Ulquiorra, but her offensive moves weren't even strong enough to face Yami's iron defensive skin. Hero was the name, if I recall. So what happened is that after seeing how even Ichigo got beat up, and how Rukia managed to comfort him and is pretty much a love rival, unofficial and one-sided, she decides that she would become more useful. And how does she do it? She actually trains alongside Rukia. And after the training, Ulquiorra appears in what was it called? The Senkaimon. Appears to kill the Shinigamis that accompany Inoue, and orders her to come alongside him to Aizen. And many people think that Orihime made her own decision to go to Reikomundo, but it's just another Aizen brainwashing scene where she was convinced by Aizen, or rather Ulquiorra, who was there under the order of Aizen to serve him. So in this image, she appears in Recommendo Las Noches in Aizen's castle. And as you can see, Orihime is scared shit because of Aizen's. But it's not clear what Aizen does, but she felt like her power is being sucked up. Why am I showing these images? Because it pretty much builds up what Aizen is going to do with Inoue. At least this should have been something more interesting than what we got, because Aizen would at the end cast away Orihime as a bait to lure just some captains. So that's the only thing Inoue has been useful for. So here we would get a small demonstration of Inoue's power, which is supposed to be healing. But it turns out that still don't get it. It's time reversal. Sperial reversal. In other words, she can pretty much reject events that happened. Like, her power violates the realm of God, implying that she has godlike powers. And here we see how Grimjoe takes advantage of his now healed arm and eliminates Luffy. Nobody cared about him anyways. We go to chapter 248, where we could go a bit back to the towards to the conversation with Neutra and Valkyria, where Valkyria would actually explain what actually happened, what has been done. So don't worry, that woman's been under Aizen-sama's spell ever since before she even came to Heikomondo, and here Neutra believes that Aizen already used Kyokatsui Getsu, his already overpowered spell ability, and you can see if you can pause and read it yourself that Aizen and or rather Valkyria used mental cages to trap Orihime and make it look like she came willingly, but in reality she had no choice to begin with. She betrayed them of her own free will. That's your amazing, useful character Orihime, guys. If you remember, the good guys were originally losing, but Orihime didn't really need to go with Valkyria because the good guys already shifted the battle to their advantage. The only thing you could have been worrying about is that Grimjoe would kill Hirako. And if you think, well, you can. And that's up to you if you think Grimjoe with one arm could release his Sanpakuto and just kill Hirako Shinji. And it's possible because the writers are jobless themselves, but yeah, that's how it goes. So here we see a small flashback between Aizen and Orihime, where these fucking Arankai girls nobody likes brings them to Aizen. And these characters are also responsible why everyone hates Orihime, because the entire Mundo arc, Orihime gets victimized over and over again. It not only feels unbearable, it becomes so unbearable that it's becoming annoying. It's annoying to the point of unbearableness, and I don't get how these girls horny for Aizen. I wonder. These are Hollow's monsters. Oh, why would they fall in love with a Shinigami? Makes no fucking sense. But I guess everyone has their own fetishes. So, Aizen shows Oishime's Hogyoku. And it was implied that Aizen intends to use her power to could it be to accelerate the Hogyoku? There Aizen asks Orihime if she is willing to help him. And this is where Orihime finally gets something to do. This is her moment. This is what you are getting invested to. I can't believe that man showed me the Hogyoku because he trusts me. But at least I know where the Hogyoku is kept, and about my powers, denying the very fact that the occurrence happened, and distinguish the very phenomenon. Thank you, Kurosaki-kun. I found something I need to do here. Using my powers, I will return the Hogyoku to the state before it existed. This is the selling point. This is supposed to be the payoff in getting invested in this arc. It's a power struggle between Orihime using her power to stop Aizen, and the opposite. How will Aizen manage to trick Orihime to use her power to accelerate the Hogyoku so he can become the ultimate being that breaks the boundaries of Hollow and Shinigami? And you know how that ended if you read Bleach. Utter disappointment. And there you see Aizen looking with confidence because he knows what he does. He has Kyoka Suigetsu, and he is implied to be a really competent antagonist. And he was until that point, so many weren't really expecting that Orihime would actually manage to stop Aizen, but just imagine you have this build up to do something of importance. And what do you get? Well, before we get to that, let's do a small detour where Orihime gets continuously victimized by these annoying female characters nobody likes. And yeah, by the time this scene appeared, is Gramjo came and beat the crap out of them. And Orihime, being that a character that kept being pushed, used her powers to heal them by taking the hits of these annoying characters and healing that other psychopath instead of letting her die, so the people that were consumed by her while she was a hollow can reincarnate in Soul Society like a monster. Yeah. yeah. So where are we? You could say Orihime was useful in this arc because she healed Ichigo, and yes, she healed Ichigo. She also helped Ichigo to regain his, what is it called? His confidence to overpower Ulcure. I mean Grimjaw, but if you continue reading the story, it didn't really matter. Especially the entire point of the Huecomundo arc became pointless as the captains appeared. Because why did Orihime go to Huecomundo if she aren't going to do anything? Why did Ichigo and the others go to Huecomundo without a plan? If the captains have a plan, appear and beat up the Espadas with hardly any efforts. Like Kenpachi was weaker than Ichigo in Soul Society, and Ichigo beat him just with a Shikai. Now he is implied to be stronger than a Bankai Hollow Fight Ichigo and one-shots Ulquiorra with using Sanpakuto with both hands. Then we have Mayuri versus Zyla Grant, where they use random science stuff that it seems like they are using magic in reality. It's just like, but it's cool when you watch it the first time, but it seems so impractical. Where does how can Mayuri still be alive without having any organs? He replaced all his organs with dummies, and yet he, despite everything being broken and destroyed, he is still alive. Because if you take away your organs from your body, how are you still living? You should be dead. Never explained in a way it makes logical sense in Bleach, but you just have to take it as it will, as you will. But and I guess how he defeated Xyla can be is fine, I assume. Byakuya vs Samari is like two people mashing their toys together. And it was one of the least eventful fights and rather boring. I rather watch Ichigo vs Ganju again. And the last fight was not even a fight. They didn't Abaron or whatever his name is, just some random Arankal who always wanted to be an Espada just retreated because Unohana didn't want to fight. Yeah, I kind of skipped the part where can I find it? If I can find it, that would be nice. So Ichigo gets healed again. Destroy Kawabata, that's right. Yeah, so they go to Karakura. Can you hear me, dear invaders? He is just leaving Inoue alive because of that. Wasn't he going to use the power of Inoue to awaken that Hokuku? and that's what you get. You get invested. Aizen has this power where he could just instantly awaken the Hogyoku with Inoue's power, and he just cast her aside just to lure three, four captains. He could have just used Kyokatsuigetsu on them and let them kill each other. Instead, he just wastes this opportunity to get this for some shitty plot twist. Now he believes he has cut down the military force of the Soul Society, but jokes on him. He sacrificed about 70% of his own fight military force for that. So amazing, amazing treat. I don't know. This is Ice. He doesn't really care. And if you read this entire manga, you see there was no point of this father to begin with. Aizen could have gone to the Soul Palace at any point. These four captains, they don't really matter. What is Unohana going to do against Aizen? What is Kenpachi going to do against Aizen? What is Byakuya lost to Ichigo? Even if you say, okay, that was kinda a cop-out, how is he going to defeat Aizen? And the closest one you could maybe argue is Mayuri. How is Mayuri going to defeat Aizen? Makes no sense. And now we go to the part where Ichigo is about to die and Orihime is crying, trying to heal Ichigo, but she's unable to do it. Also built up of her getting a power-up, rejecting the Hogyoku out of existence, or at least help Aizen to get what he wants. And this is what people remember and hate about Orihime. This is it, guys. This is the payoff for your investment in the Hekomundo arc. Orihime crying for Ichigo for help. And after that happened, I will go back. Remember when I stated that, and where was it? Ichigo was healed by Orihime, so she wasn't useless. For one, he wouldn't, if Orihime didn't do that stupid shit, Ichigo wouldn't have to go to Rekomunto to begin with and nearly died. And the second is her healing powers are pointless because Ichigo is plot armor to have high speed regeneration. Look, this is the whole Ulcura made. He got a power up that nearly killed Ulcura. And after the horn was destroyed, his hull was completely regenerated. Look, he is almost fully healed. He could technically continue fighting, but Ulcura doesn't look so good and dies before that goes on. And all you can do is, and this is the last scene with Orihime, where she says she isn't scared of Ulcura. And the infamous heart scene. Where is it? This is the heart. That's the payoff for getting invested to the Rekomundo arc. But what about the Karakura Town arc? I mean, uh, it's the entire Arankal saga, the Eisen saga. Surely, after all the build-up, Orihime would be useful at this point, and this is where Orihime last appears after Ichigo finished beating Eisen. This is the last image before we get to the god awful Fullbring arc, which is just filler, so nothing what happens there matters, because Ichigo could have been stabbed by and regained his Shinigami powers at any point. It also uses the entire premise of Ichigo losing his powers. Like, what was the point if you can just regain it like a snap of my finger? It also renders the training with the Fullbrings pointless, because it goes nowhere. Nobody but the most hardcore fans of Bleach likes the Fullbrings. It was so boring each chapter, where Chad didn't do jack shit. He's supposed to be the character of the arc, like, or him is supposed to be the character of the Arankal saga, and the Soul Society supposed to be about Rukia, and the final arc is supposed to be about Ishida, but it's mainly about Ichigo. So they all these supposed to be the secondary main characters, but they are all pretty much useless with somewhat of an exception of Rukia, because she was at least useful for 2 arcs. Useful, I mean important. So we go to the next arc, where before I mention this is a 1,000-year Blood War arc. If you watched the anime, in the anime, it's the very first episode of the 1,000-year Blood War arc. Look what Orihime does. She healed some nearly dead Shinigami, and when the action takes place, where they all show their powers, all she does is make a barrier that stops one hollow. Well, sure, very impressive. Such a useful character. Never mind, let's go to the Kurge fight, where her barrier gets just turned into rage and absorbed by Kurge. Completely, look, nobody but Ichigo is really important here, and this nobody Tres Bestia created this annoying giant chimera who just beats up the Quincy. Orihime didn't do jack shit here. Well, she created a barrier. She needed to be protected by the Tres Bestia, and her powers still didn't matter. Well, she's just as useless as Chad, and Chad is the rock bottom of useful main characters as you can get. Poor guy, remember him when he was a real Chad, and it felt impressive when Kyuraku knocked him out with barely any effort. Yeah, that was the last time when he was impressive. Now we go to the Soul Palace. Yeah, it took so long. What was the difference between the chapters? We started off by chapter 491 until she does something relevant that doesn't go down to protect you with a barrier from one attack to 615. What is... Come on, Orihime, you can save the Soul King. Her ability is completely useless. Godly powers can't do jack shit against for a god. Next chat, next time. That's now we moved from chapter 615 to 673. And this, oh yeah, Ichigo and Orihime. Orihime will be finally useful, right? Think again. Uh, um, you, your work is... So